This is KGW News at 11.
Two accidents early this morning on I-5. Portland police say both crashes involved drunk drivers who went the wrong way on the freeway near Southwest Corbett Avenue. The first crash happened after 1 a.m., the second after 2 a.m. The first driver crashed into two vehicles. The second driver hit one. Both drivers are facing multiple charges tonight, including DUI. Now to details on another devastating crash. Welcome to KGW News at 11. I'm Joe Ranieri. 3 people are in the hospital. One of them is in critical condition after a crash in Portland. Authorities have not said how the other 2 people are doing this evening. Here's video from the scene. As you can see, the front of this white car is ruined and the side of this SUV isn't much better. Portland police say the crash happened shortly after 5 tonight on Southeast Stark Street and Southeast 146th Avenue. Now, the Portland Police Bureau has not said what caused the crash. We do know that the major crash team is investigating. More than 600 workers for the city of Portland are still on strike tonight. Members of Laborers Local 483 have been picketing at a couple of different locations since Thursday when the strike started, including outside the wastewater treatment plant in North Portland. Union reps say they're currently in a mediation session with the city, but have yet to come to an agreement on a contract. Alma McCarty brings us the latest, including allegations from the city of Portland about the strike.
Earlier this week, Mayor Wheeler put out a statement explaining the city received reports about, quote, illegal and sometimes violent activity by Portland city laborers early Thursday. Then on Saturday, the city doubled down, saying they've had more reports of other similar incidents. But union members dispute those claims, calling them unsubstantiated, saying they've acted lawfully and even faced attacks themselves.
Power to the workers!
Power to the boss!
A picket line means
do not cross!
Along North Columbia, members of Laborers Local 483 and supporters gathered to picket Saturday afternoon outside of the wastewater treatment plant. Richard Beadle made sure to come by.
I'm retired with the local. I used to manage the local, and I'm here to support my brothers and sisters in this fight. These folks are some of the hardest working people in the city. They're the people who maintain your streets. They're the people who maintain your parks. They clean your water to make sure that the river runs clean. The environmental systems is open 24/7.
James O'Loughlin, a field rep for the union, said Saturday marks day 3 of the strike.
We've been out here since Thursday at midnight. We are currently in a mediation session with the city. We're hopeful that they'll see the ridiculous expense they're putting into trying to throw legal injunctions at us, suppress our right to strike, wasting police officers' times out here. Doesn't amount to much compared to money that would honor the work our folks do, which is going to keep people in these positions long term.
Negotiations between union representatives and the city have gone on for about 10 months. The city explained it's offering a 12% wage increase by July, half of that retroactive to 2022, and a 5% cost of living increase each year. But the union wants the city to remove that annual 5% cap.
I mean, it's the pinch that everybody's feeling, but the city has been comfortable just allowing these kind of default pay cuts to occur. A little inflation there, some furlough days over here, concessions there, state mandated cuts to your pension. And that stuff amounts to these no longer being attractive jobs.
Mayor Wheeler issued a state of emergency ahead of the strike, allowing the city to hire or reallocate staff to ensure services continue. Meantime, these workers hope the city recognizes their worth.
They need to start addressing their employees' concerns because they're going to lose the best workforce in the whole city.
Sunday night, political leaders, community supporters, and other groups plan to hold a rally in support of the striking city workers. That begins at 5:30 outside the wastewater treatment plant. In the newsroom, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Making national headlines tonight, thousands of people were forced to evacuate in East Palestine, Ohio, after a train derailed and caught on fire. The train was carrying hazardous materials. Authorities say the 50 train cars derailed on Friday and is still on fire tonight. Up to 2,000 people were forced to evacuate, which is about the half of the town's population. Now, the hazardous material on board includes vinyl chloride, which is a carcinogen. Authorities are not allowing anyone near the areas of the fire to continue to burn. Tonight, the cause of the crash is still under investigation, and no officials have detected runoff in local streams, but saying the town's drinking water is safe. Today, the U.S. military says fighter jets shot down a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon off the coast of South Carolina. The giant balloon, which is the size of 3 school buses, has floated across the country for the last several days. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the balloon was shot down at the direction of President Biden. U.S. military officials have been monitoring the balloon since Wednesday, when President Biden told them to shoot it down once they could do so without hurting people on the ground.
They successfully took it down, and I want to compliment our aviators who did it.
The balloon was spotted over Alaska, Canada, Montana, and the Carolinas. It was eventually shot down off the coast of South Carolina. China claims the balloon is a civilian airship used for weather research. Well, that was blown off course. U.S. officials doubt that claim, and there are big political ramifications. Andrea Mitchell looks at what they all could mean.
That Chinese spy balloon blowing up Secretary of State Tony Blinken's high-stakes trip to China.
In light of China's unacceptable action, I am postponing my planned travel this weekend to China.
Blinken would have been the first Secretary of State to visit China in 6 years, now calling it off, even though he was expected to meet with China's President Xi Jinping to smooth relations at a time of historic tensions. The two superpowers at odds over China's support for Vladimir Putin in Ukraine, threats against Taiwan, North Korea's nuclear program, trade, and China's spying on the U.S.
We have to send a very clear signal to China that this is unacceptable.
Experts say it's no coincidence China launched its spy balloon the same week the U.S. announced new military bases in the Philippines, 100 miles from Taiwan, to deter an invasion.
What are the other consequences that China should have to take for these actions? What are the opportunity costs of not meeting with the Chinese and with the Chinese president?
I can only imagine what the reaction would be in China if they were on the other end. As I said, job one is getting it out of our airspace.
Key Republicans say canceling Blinken's trip is not a strong enough response.
Do you think the U.S. should have shot down the balloon or taken action against it in the last couple of days?
I do. We're talking about defending our sovereign airspace. And I don't think the Chinese Communist Party would hesitate to shoot down an American asset that was in their airspace.
Now to a developing saga from the coast, and this is a wild story we've been telling you about since yesterday afternoon. This week, a Canadian man allegedly left a dead fish on the porch of the famous Goonies house in Astoria. Then on Friday, he stole a boat. He later had to be rescued by the Coast Guard because that stolen boat capsized. After all of that, the suspect, Jericho Wolf Labonte, was arrested on Friday evening. Authorities found him at a warming shelter in Seaside. Now he is in U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody at the Northwest Detention Center in Washington. He's facing multiple charges, including theft and criminal mischief. Additionally, he is also wanted out of British Columbia. If you want to see our complete report on this story, visit us on YouTube. We even got a chance to talk to the owner of the Goonies house, who explains the shock of finding that fish on his porch. Again, our complete story is now on YouTube now.